Ahoy listeners! Welcome to the Yonko Podcast with me, Alex Juwan, and our crew, Burke and Brock. Chapter 1029 returns us to two very important fights. The Scarecrow versus the Maniacal Killer, and the biggest of moms versus the Kid. And Kid! These fights are rough and are not going the greatest, so who's gonna save the day? Find out today! All this and so much more on today's episode of the Yonko Podcast. Let's jump right in. Let's set sail. Chapter 1029, The Tower, was this week's episode. Chapter...
Start over!
Welcome to the... No, this is fine. I'm totally fine with this, actually. We have a wonderful cover request by Arinko.
Jewelry Bunny.
A bunny in a soba eating contest with sea otters.
It's nice to see Bonnie again.
I wish they were Kung Fu Dugons myself.
I think she's dead.
Nah.
Not actually.
Okay.
Remember, those sea otters are probably dead, though.
Otters don't live very long, and that's sad. You shouldn't have one as a pet. It will last longer than your dog. Less than your dog. Less long than your dog. Your dog isn't very long.
Tongue twisters today.
I guess. Anyway, it's Chapter 1029, The Tower. We're going to figure out what the tower is in just a bit. But yeah, we return literally to where 1028 left us with this...
With the clatter.
This clatter.
And something is up with Sanji.
And this, yep.
Getting them hormones
because Queen's sword is definitely broken, and he is definitely the second hand of Kaido, and that definitely shouldn't have happened.
And he's definitely not a snake right now.
He's also definitely not a bitch. Which,
you mean Bronchio Snakeus or whatever it was?
Sure! I don't remember it. I don't want to remember it. I don't know what is going on with that fucking thing. Anyway, he shattered Queen Sama's swords! How? I could have sworn that blade was going for his throat. Was it armament hockey? But that wouldn't explain it.
That wasn't hockey, was it? I remember Judge mentioning something before about making humans more durable with an accelerated healing factor and enhanced physical strength, all topped up with hearts of ice.
An idea that Sanji is very afraid of, and we'll get to why in a second. Way to go, Sanji, my boy! You broke a sword with your bare neck! That's what I've chosen.
I love Old Chopper.
That's what I've chosen for Chopper.
I like Old Chopper.
No, I don't want to be like them. Those unfeeling monsters.
Hey, where do you think you're going?
Muhaha. What's happening to me? I need to figure out what caused this. Let me think a bit. If this keeps up.
Sanji, what's wrong?
Am I going to lose my emotions? Now, this is something that I mentioned that I myself was very concerned about. The idea that all these powers were going to come with something far more negative, something far more traumatizing, right? The thing that makes Sanji who he is that he has feelings. His mother literally died, gave up her life drinking poison so that at least one of her children could be normal.
I on the opposite side of that, I really enjoy the fact that he's like, just let me think for a bit. Everything on pause.
Yep.
I need some reflection here. Just let me think.
Yeah.
And I think that's...
Just give me a second. Give me a goddamn second.
That's just such a charming, like... That's just such a charming moment.
I must use the toilets. Let me go for a bit. I will be back post.
I just...
You didn't finish the rhyme. I'm gonna go for a bit. I'll be back post shit.
That was well done.
No, but I love those antics, even in like the heat of like very important battles, where it's like, listen, I know this is a big thing, but there's a big thing happening with me.
I feel like Sanji knows at the very least, and I don't think he's thinking about much else, but I think he knows at the very least that if he runs, Queen will chase him. This dude is obsessed with his Germa raid suit, anything the Judge had to do with him, like... Queen's gonna chase this mofo down, so at the very least he knows he's not leaving Queen.
Well, now he's absolutely fascinated because he's just like, you just broke my sword.
That was my favorite sword, you fucking bitch.
Honestly, I don't think he's thinking about Queen.
I don't think he's thinking about anything. But
I don't think he even cares that he's following him. I don't think
this is not strategy at all.
No,
but I think narratively speaking, Queen will follow.
No, absolutely.
Queen's not going to go, well, you're running away, I'm going to go kill Zoro.
He's completely focused on getting him to show him his suit. Like, that's his goal right now.
Oh, yeah.
He's obviously like, I want to tinker with this bitch.
I don't know what Nads was, but it seems like they're very involved, or were, and now, since they've been so distant with time and whatever else, he's like, I want to see what Judge has been up to. Show me what Judge has been up to. I know you got Judge's tech. Show me the tech. Take off your pants and put on the rain suit. It's what he does. They have the anime girl fucking transformations.
Yeah.
But that's literally what queens do it.
Yeah.
It's a queen chasing down Sanji. It's the time skip all over again.
And poor
Oh,
no! Kamabaka Kingdom!
He's just... And look, if he
I'll
outruns...
blow my nose at that shit.
If he outruns Queen, that's what this training was for, in a sense. He spent a lot of time... running away.
Running away from queens.
But apparently he does not, as we jump back into the narrative.
It's a straw hat. He's muttering to himself. He's wide open. Fire! Isn't he black like Sanji? Fill him with lead.
Ding, 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 as the bullets ricochet off of him.
They ricochet. Hell yeah, I got it.
That hurt, you bastard. Uh-oh!
Get back here and put on your raid suit. Show me what Germa science can do.
Off he runs, chasing the boy who he wants to get naked.
This
that's
is
what that's
so
what
chaotic, and I love it.
One Piece is just chaos, man.
I love this. I do love this. I wonder what the stopping point for Sanji is. I don't know if he just needs to have an epiphany.
I think he just needs to get through this self-reasoning.
Like,
honestly.
What if somehow, just hear me out.
Okay.
Might just make, all of the toxicity of the Zoro versus...
I have a thought too, but go off.
The
Burke.
Sanji versus Zoro debate come to a halt for a little bit. I'd love it if for once Sanji goes outside and he just ends up where King and Zoro are fighting, and Zoro just literally just gets it through his head where it's just right now is not the time to be thinking about this. I understand, for once, I would love it if Zoro actually said, I understand your concern, and right now we need to beat these guys. We can talk about it later or something. Mm-hmm. Just get Sanji to think of the big picture for right now.
I would almost think it's more like, you have this power, use it, goddammit!
Yeah.
To Burke's point, it is interesting because both Sanji and Zoro have been the people who've been, not put the smack down quite literally, but they've, attacked crew members in a way where it's you need to do this because this is it. We are done. Yeah. We are fixing our focus, and we're going to get through this shit and deal with the consequences later, right? Yeah. They're always the guys that the crew turns to when Luffy doesn't, because he's young, right? When he doesn't have a whole, idea of how this is supposed to go, it's Zoro or Sanji, who, have to be those voices. So it's interesting to see Sanji in a pretty rough position, Zoro from a couple chapters back in a rough position. Do they need a waking up? Are they going to wake each other up? How does it break down?
Don't know.
My fun idea of how this goes is he literally is running, Queen's chasing him, he's running, Queen's chasing him, he's skywalking, Queen's fuck, and then Queen just fucking drops into the ocean. That's not gonna happen, but that'd be funny as shit.
Okay, that would be funny.
That'd be funny. That's how we beat Queen. Sanji doesn't even get a power scaling moment. He just literally has an existential crisis, is jumping in the air, and Queen's it just plummets into the ocean.
Yeah, but we need to find out more of what Queen knows. Don't get me wrong, that'd be hilarious.
I think eventually Reitsu will come on. He'll figure this out in his head, and he'll do what he needs to do. But right now he's fucking off, and I don't know how long it's gonna take him to come back around to this.
And unfortunately,
and to be fair to him, it's a lifelong trauma.
It's incredibly traumatic. So
I
take nothing.
And you pair that with Sanji's natural charming melodramaticness. Yeah. Because he has a very charming antics where it's
extroverted.
It's like when he fought Absolom, that fruit was my dream, you son of a bitch! And it's a very charming aesthetic to Sanji where it's even if it's a crazy boss fight, it's dude, I need a moment. Yeah. I'm gonna cry if I don't get a fucking moment. Yeah. So I love that. I love that idea.
I want to give you some credit though on this, Alex. Obviously you kind of called this, but don't let it go to your head too much.
I won't.
But
I will say,
but you know your boy well enough that it was as soon as this became a thing, it immediately became about him losing his emotions. And good on you for calling that and never knowing that was going to be a possible conflict of his.
Yeah, I mean, literally, all of Whole Cake just came back and hit me when he started getting these powers. I'm like, but that comes with, right? Mm-hmm. Another way I could see this realistically going, is he stops in his tracks. We don't get like a face shot. And like he's maybe putting on his raid suit. Queen catches up to him like, oh, you run so fast. Now I'm going to kill you. And without emotion, he literally puts the absolute beat down onto Queen. And then, I don't know at that point what happens, but there's like this like dark Sanji, like emotionless Sanji moment. I don't know where that eventually turns back into normal him, because obviously we're not keeping that. But I think that'd be incredibly sick, but also incredibly terrifying.
It'd be like
that'd be a really cool moment.
It'd be like a Chopper versus CP9 moment.
Yeah, because I can see in this chapter, he's on the edge. Next chapter, I could see him taking that plummet into that place, no longer giving a shit because he's emotionless now, and then having some sort of wrap up in the conclusion of Wano where something resets him, Chopper does something, and maybe he gets to keep the power upgrade, the powers. Yeah. But if those have to go away with the emotions, I'm okay with him losing those as well, getting stronger naturally. I don't know the conclusion, but that is kind of plausible in my head if I'm going to keep saying what I think Sanji might end up at.
I'm willing to believe that the cold heart, he's going to make it so the cold heart, he's going to adapt so the cold heart isn't a necessity for these powers.
I could also see, and this would be, I think, right along Oda's lines, the ice demon virus that they shot out a while ago that Chopper cured. If his heart literally froze over, I could see Chopper giving him one of those and that fixing that issue as like a gag, but also like, no, of course I can cure that. That's a lot easier to cure than the fucking ice virus. That would be like a super metaphorical way of it going, but like that could be fun.
Happens.
You know? But anyway, with that, let's move on to the other Yonko in the room.
Second floor. Hey, you don't look too good.
Mom! Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Mama! What's the matter? You got a migraine, kid?
I don't know if that's her speaking or if it's unclear. Anyway.
I think it is.
Anyway.
Get him, Hera! Napoleon!
Eustace, yeah!
Yes, Mama!
As Kid lays on the floor, clearly in pain, and we cut to him. His head is throbbing. Damn it.
What the hell? Stop being dead weight! Shambles! Counter shocker! Mama! Yeah! How dare you hurt Mama! Ah! Stolen fire! Stolen? Yeah. Stolen fire. Mama! And just Kid having a rough time. And this, I thought this was the end of fucking Kid. I'll be honest.
Either Kid or Law.
Someone
sure.
just, Mama Raid! Boom! Which is a play
also,
on
I love
Marmalade.
that it's a play on Marmalade. That's great.
That's very Mama-like.
I mean, she gets that hit off, man. That looks rough as hell.
And then she's got that terrifying...
Don't fucking choke on Big Mom
He
now.
still gets up. This is no freaking headache. What's going on? I finally got an opportunity to take down an emperor. If I die like this, my life as a pirate would be a joke.
Mama, this is pitiful, kid. You look like you'll keel over at your own at this point.
Damn it.
Third floor, Killer versus Hawkins.
Stop it! Fa! Knock it off already, Hawkins!
Hawkins is banging his head. You now know where the migraine's coming from. He's bashing freaking Kid's body into this pillar with his own head.
Please, fa!
To think you actually ate a smile fruit. You really have the worst luck, Killer.
Fa! I'm begging you to stop!
Why can't we help him finish... Why can't we help you finish Killer-san? He keeps banging his skull against the pillar. Is he nuts?
Fa! Just shut up and do what you're told.
But you're not fighting either.
Can't take this anymore. The fire's almost here. We need to hurry and leave before it's too late. Release Kid. You can have my life if that's what it takes.
Hawkins, ... Killer-san. He just kicks him in the face. That bastard's apparently facing Big Mom now. I bet he sees this as his chance to finally supplant an emperor. He sure dreams big.
Stop getting in his way!
You can always cut down... you can always cut me down with those signs if you're sick of me. I still don't mind if you surrender. I'll even put in a good word with Kaido for you. Your side has no chance of winning this battle. You already know that. That's the truth, don't you? The reason their dominion overseas has lasted for so long is obvious to anyone who's laid eyes on them. They cannot be beaten.
I see through your wailing. You regret it. The path you chose. We fought through the impossible odds you foresaw, and we're still here while you pissed yourself and quit. Fa-fa.
I'll accept you into the fold if you... Oh. I'll accept you into the fold if you submit. We'll see who made the right decision when this is over. Hawkins draws his really sick blade. Well, I think that's you, right?
Let's see.
I don't
want to have regrets either, so I'm going to give this another shot. It's all or nothing now. I've just thought of a couple of questions for you. What happens if you take damage that has nowhere else to go?
What are you talking about? You should understand my powers by now. As long as I have this straw doll in me, any damage I take goes to Kid.
And then with that,
Ooh.
Killer leaps forward and cuts off Hawkins' left arm.
What? Hawkins-san!
And he immediately begins screaming.
The annihilation card.
No.
Oh. Ah! You cut off my arm! But the damage should have...
Kid doesn't have a left arm. Question 2. If I remove this doll, how many more lives do you have?
Congratulations. That was the last one. Damn it. This isn't what I predicted. Strawman's card. Death upright.
The annihilation card.
The annihilation card. You're already living on borrowed time. I'm gonna finish you off head on. Q.
And then let's see.
Fucking the killer, it's coming at him.
Sure,
the doll.
Okay, Klein guillotine. Yeah, he killed the strawman.
That strawman can't die. Its fate is determined by the cards, and it will be revived. Show me the results of the battle. The tower.
And as Killer comes forward once more, Sonic Blade!
Ooh, beautiful. And you know that panel's gonna be beautiful.
It's gonna be great. And as Hawkins finally succumbs, clearly, you did it, Killer-san!
Hawkins-san!
And Hawkins falls to the ground. The tower card signifies great change.
What? You're no longer under the weather, kid?
An upheaval of the established order. Yeah, never felt better. Its hidden meaning indicates the opening of a new path. Go for it, partner.
Carving out a new future.
And as far as we can tell,
Chapter 1029.
no break next week, but we'll see.
You know, I feel like Oda leaves it vague, because maybe he wants a break, maybe he doesn't, and maybe when he publishes, he's not sure which one he wants yet. So we'll see. I'm assuming 10:30.
These are confusing times.
Then there is an absolutely gorgeous color spread of that final hit on Hawkins. The only one, and it's freaking beautiful. Whew! Well, we were right last week about a couple things. Obviously, we're clearing up those smaller fights. The Hawkins Killer one is now done. That leaves Kid, Law, and Big
Not only
Mom.
that, but it ended in just like the right way.
Oh yeah, we all called that too.
We all
right?
called that. I'm not gonna say like, oh, it was like a big brain call.
I think we could all.
It's literally just one of those things where like in the story, Kid doesn't have a left arm, so why on earth would cutting Hawkins' left arm do anything to Kid?
Yeah, it destroyed his magnet arm, but that doesn't matter. That's not his real arm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now he is armless. Take that, Hawkins. Join the armless crew. Law.
Unless Law feels nice to you, but I doubt it. We'll see.
Yeah, he made Hawkins like his captain, one armed. But yeah, I think that was a pretty intense chapter. I really wouldn't say there's too much to speculate
There's
on.
not a lot to discuss, in my opinion. Most of it was about what's going on with Sanji. This was just nice to clear up that, okay, now Hawkins is down. Killer just did a solid first captain, and I like reaffirming that. The only thing that came to mind after this chapter when I first read it was, to me, going forward, Luffy is obviously the equivalent to Roger. But what if that means at this point, he's just almost be above a Yonko, and I looked ahead or I thought ahead to what the ending of this series looks like. Does the concept of the Yonko disappear, or does it stay there as a thing and Luffy becomes the new king of pirates and Law and Kid almost take Big Mom and Kaido's places? Just a random thought I had.
It's an interesting question because the Yonko system was almost already kind of broken when they announced the 5th emperor, right? Yonko means 4 emperors, and the fact that there's a 5th.
Well, he was kind of like an unofficial, I think.
Well, it was weird though, right? Yeah. How can you have a 5th emperor published if there's only room for 4 without defeating one? I think
only if you call them by the Yonko. Obviously, if they go by the Goku or whatever, then...
Goku!
I mean, I've made this joke so many times.
It's so good. Anyway, it is interesting. Does the Yonko system remain, or just like the Warlords, does it also seemingly get abolished with this grand rise?
I don't know.
Well, that's the thing.
It's not didn't exist before Roger.
But also the Yonko isn't a government-backed thing, so there's nothing really to abolish. It's a new change of power.
And it's their
I guess abolished by like Oda. Does he get rid of it as well as the?
And it's just their way of categorizing, these pirates who have become like
the top powers with territories that world government seemingly can't take back because they're so powerful.
Or at least they don't try to fuck with too much because...
I don't think Law or Kid... Luffy...
I'm not even saying necessarily right after Wano.
Yeah.
I'm just saying for the
Eventually.
age that is currently in the process of dawning.
If Big Mom falls here, I think it would be a tough fight for anyone to take that next Yonko spot away from Katakuri, if I'm being honest.
The other reason I bring this up is so obviously my wife just got to where she met both Law and Kid. And we have the first big fight that these 3 all are in. Yeah, and Kid, I always love his reaction when Luffy's just like, I just want to find the One Piece. I'm going to become the Pirate King.
Yeah.
And Kid just, says to, I want to say it was to Killer or to Law. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but just whenever I've said that that's what I want, I've killed people for that.
Yeah, for saying that. Yeah.
Because they laughed at me.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I think back to that moment and Kid's ambition, Law's ambition, Luffy's ambition. You have to think about what happens for the people who aren't Straw Hats. What did they do? Do they stick with the crew? Do they continue this alliance, toppling emperor upon emperor until we get to the One Piece? Or that's the biggest thing for me right now is Law's whole alliance started with let's kill Kaido.
Well, Law's alliance was based in killing Kaido, and largely he just wanted Dofi dead. I don't know how much he really cared. Law specifically about Kaido, he just wanted Luffy to know, hey, if you join up with me, you can take down a Yonko. That gets you closer to being the Pirate King. And Luffy was like, sure. And then Law's whole thing where, our alliance is over, the plan's fucked up, run away. And they were like, no, we're going to help you still. And he's like, what? I feel like this entire arc is just Law's gratefulness to that kind of greater cause of beating Kaido. I don't feel like he ever really cared that much. Do you think Law actually cared about defeating Kaido? Or
I do. I think he has more... I think he obviously wanted to take down Doflamingo in honor of Corazon. Yeah. But I do think he has greater... his sights higher than that.
I feel like Law doesn't really want to be the Pirate King.
Well, he might not want to be the Pirate King, but I think he wants to fly higher.
Law's an interesting character because I've never really had you can tell me if I'm wrong. I don't feel like I've ever had a statement outside of I want to kill Dofi for what you did to the person, my mentor, the person I love, right? He wants an icebreaker. Outside of that, I just feel like now he's just kind of helping Luffy. Whereas if Luffy, didn't keep going along with this and there wasn't an actual real opportunity to take down Kaido, I don't know how invested Law would be.
We also got to take into account the fact...
pirate stuff.
You got to take into account the fact that Law is a D. So that places him at the center of the world.
But even he doesn't know what that means.
He probably wants to find out.
He asked Sengoku, he's like, do you know what this means? And Sengoku's like, no. which was a fucking lie. Of course I know, probably knows, but like, you know, D's are always in the center of all this stuff, whether they like it or not.
Here's all I gotta say is that Kid's the only one in the past that I recall, and once again, you also correct me if I'm wrong, because Law's more your boy. I like Law, but I don't focus on every word that he's ever said. And I'm not saying you do.
No, I do that with Marco. There's not as many words.
Yoy. But Kid's the only one that I remember in the past ever expressing that he also is shooting for One Piece. He's shooting for Pirate King.
Yeah.
Obviously, with every supernova that we met back in Shabandi, you would assume that that's what they were shooting for, but obviously each of them has had their own obstacles to overcome.
As we've gone through the story, you know, they've got some of their goals have become more dubious. Like Capone wanted to kill Yonko. That was like the ultimate thing for him. Now he's off with his married family, and that's all reunited. And I guess he could help Luffy in the future. I don't really see what else Capone wants, right?
I mean, I think they all got.
Bonnie's weird. She has some sort of like island affiliation, royal blood, like Kuma thing.
She's got connections that we're gonna find out later.
Yeah, I think. She's not really a pirate for being a pirate.
It is amazing how much we've shored up a lot of supernovas by being in this arc specifically.
Oh, yeah.
Because you had Drake, you had Hawkins, you had Kid Killer.
Drake, very interesting case of a rear admiral turning coat to turn coat again, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the big outliers here is like obviously what is going to be Capone's next move, what is Bonnie's big thing, and then
it's the Mad Monk doing.
And then does Arouge?
He's just hanging out on a fucking sky island. Last we saw.
Do you have any ambition whatsoever, or is he just a roided out fucking angel?
He beat the hell out of fucking Snack and Peace. You know, he just got out of there. So I don't know what a lot of and that's the thing, right? Oda created these before the arc. He was just like, Sabi's boring. Supernovas, right? And now largely their goals and storylines, he can do whatever he wants with, but they weren't exactly well thought out when they were created. Now
they were just very cool characters.
They were just cool characters, right? Then Law had this whole thing with the...
I wouldn't even say... I mean, I don't think any of us know what was thought out when they were made.
Well, Oda said in an interview, and you can look this up, and any of the viewers can, like, he did not have any of the supernovas made until he drew Savity. Then he was like, Savity's kind of boring. I'm going to put in some other people. And then, I mean, I think he may have had Doflamingo's whole thing figured out, but having a kid from this town that eventually gets involved with his brother who wasn't a character that was talked about until Law, right? That could have all been later on. I'm not in Oda's head, obviously, but these characters can serve really wide, great purposes that he has kind of decided along the way rather than preconceiving what the One Piece is and Luffy's journey, etc., etc. And that's just the genius of Oda. He can do that so quickly, and so seemingly so well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, going back to the point, I personally don't know what Law does after Wano. Really.
Here's the thing. I've always thought of those three that we obviously are talking about right now. Law has the greatest chance of becoming a member of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. I do not think he is going to be a member of the crew.
Yeah, I would agree.
But that being said, he might still have ambition that we aren't aware of. That after this, you know, the Straw Hat's greatest miracle that he's witnessed will have come to fruition is that Kaido, the man who could not be beat on land, air, or sea, has fallen.
I definitely think just given Law and like just how he thinks and how he plans ahead, I think he's already got an idea of what he wants to do after this.
Do you have any?
I have no idea what that is. I do think it does connect to the fact that he's a D. I mean, there's not many other things that can be connected to if there's something we're using from him. And I do agree. I do think I don't think he's going to become an official member of the Grand Fleet. I think he's going to be like Bellamy and said, "I'll help you out." You know, when it comes down to it. But I think he's got too much pride to actually put himself under Luffy like that.
Having just recently watched somebody who finished Dressrosa, kind of on the topic of Bellamy, I found her insight into him a little bit interesting because he had grown up giving his whole life for a person. Essentially, he wanted to be recognized by Doflamingo. He wanted praise and adoration by one person.
Yeah.
So I think the reason he initially refused to join the fleet was just because of that same thing where he just kind of needs to rethink, what is dedicating my life to a person and their ideals and what that. So he might still honestly join the fleet at some point. I just think he needed to take some time for himself to reevaluate who he is as a person now that he's seen what his original idol and what living life without dreams has been like.
I definitely think he's there in some capacity on Luffy's side for whatever the final battle
Absolutely.
will be.
Absolutely.
Where if he sticks around for the next arc or not, I don't.
Are we back to talking about law?
Yeah, I'm talking about law. Cool. I just don't know if he. Obviously, he can fit into the narrative very easily. I just don't see it currently where he exists outside of the pirate samurai mink alliance after freeing Wano. I feel like
because I can see Kid just fucking off and.
Oh yeah, he wants to be pirate king. He's not going to help Luffy. Fuck you.
No.
We did our shit. We beat Kaido. Peace.
We beat Kaido, and hopefully we'll beat Big Mom. Fuck you after this.
I mean, if these world government ships that are on the precipice of getting to Wano, if there's anyone scary on them, like Wano's going to be even longer than we're currently expecting it to be.
Well, that's the thing is, so I looked it up again just to remind myself. So 1010 is when we passed Dressrosa in terms of how long, like what the longest arc is, and we still are thinking we might get a Kaido flashback. Like I would be kind of depressed if we didn't get a little bit more of him.
Kaido flashback can't just be one chapter.
It wouldn't be weird for this to be an extremely long arc, just based on the fact that it is a turn of the century arc. It is an arc of, and it shows itself in the. And the ending of this arc was like a changing of power, a changing of the tides.
Yeah.
This is a chance for two long-feared sources of power to fall. And I do think, if anything, I think we'll get all that. And I do think, if anything, the attack of the Marines will be just like an intro into another arc.
Like, are they being chased by the Marines, or are they defending Wano a second time?
I don't know. But I think it's going to connect to something on a grand scale.
The Straw Hats always run away from islands historically. Like, Marines show up, they go on. Wano is different because it's not already a world government stronghold with world government leaders. It's not like their job at this point is to fuck off and let the world government do what they want. Like, you would think they would defend it, for Momo, for the next Shogun. For the right Shogun.
It's just hard to say.
So,
because I think this is just such an exception in terms of
it is
island-based arcs.
Absolutely is, and it's the longest arc, as Burke mentioned. And we always talk about how the longest days ever. Like Dressrosa, longest day ever. Well, Wano is the longest fucking night ever. This raid started however many chapters ago.
To be fair, though, when you talk about the whole of the Wano arc. Obviously, we've been in Wano.
But the raid is the longest
night. The raid
night.
Is so far being very long.
It's probably going to be the longest night. Because the end of it has to be the dawn, right? The dawn breaks over, a defeated Kaido.
That's what I imagine.
And a free
Hey, and what
Wano.
a better long night than the actual long night, if you know what I'm saying, Game of Thrones fans.
True.
Sorry.
But, it's really hard to say how many more enemies in Wano we have to face before the Straw Hats fuck off and go to, I'm just going to say Elbaf. I have no idea. But
exactly.
Haven't been to Elbaf, might as well go to Elbaf. Right?
We'll see, man.
What would be the next island? I don't know. There's no way we can speculate that shit. I'm going to say Elbaf because we've talked about it.
We'll have to live it. We'll have to experience it to know for sure.
Which, people say Elbaf is Shanks' territory. Well, there's very few territories left for Shanks to have. If he even has a territory. But all Yonko have a territory? I don't know. Solid chapter. I think evil Sanji. I'm gonna guess evil Sanji. I kind of like the idea that he stops, he's emotionless, he beats the living shit out of Queen with all his new powers, and he has to be helped by Chopper in some way to return. And that's what takes him out, is maybe coming back into himself. rather than like it being the fight. It's like mental exhaustion or some shit. So I'm predicting evil Sanji. Not next chapter, but like maybe next chapter.
So you really think... Okay.
I feel like there is... Look, Oda always does the unexpected, so when I guess things, I try to guess unexpected things. I feel like that's less reasonable, therefore it's more possible. That's what I think with Oda. Predictions 10:30. What can we potentially get right about the next chapter?
there's been an influx of finishing of battles. So I think another battle is going to finish up next time. It might be Fukurokoju.
Who's an alien? I saw a really good theory video on YouTube. I don't even remember the channel creator, but no, it was Grand Line Review. Shout out Grand Line Review, who was talking about aliens in One Piece. Are they already here? And is Luffy an alien? If you want to find out the answers that Grand Line Review had, go check them out. But for Fukurokoju, I'd be an alien.
Interesting.
From space.
Okay.
Maybe we'll get a location of Denjiro, an update on Denjiro finally.
Oh, please let him be murdered.
Because we're actually starting to run out of characters.
A little bit.
A little bit, besides the big 3 fights.
Did we kill all the numbers? No.
I don't think we gave a shit about the numbers.
I know.
The numbers weren't.
But I feel like if we count them, we only took down like 3, and there were, I think, 10 numbers.
I mean,
there?
either way, they're going to get taken down.
I know, but I feel like the numbers might be an interesting, forgotten enemy. Or do you think we're done with it? Like the enemies we have.
I feel like since we defeated the Flying Six and like a lot of the
Togiropo is done.
Togiropo's done and all them, I'm pretty sure the numbers aren't going to... I think, if anything, they're going to maybe chase the weaker characters around,
Dude,
but I can't...
Numbers, even more disappointing than Togiropo. And that's saying something.
Yeah.
I mean, I never had high expectations for anyone beneath the Togiropo.
The introduction of the numbers was really sick, which is why I had high hopes for them. Because they were these horrifying, like very much like Thriller Bark, like dark eyes.
Well,
and
I mean,
shadow
One Piece has a theme of like, there's the top, and then there's the second.
Yeah.
And then there's the guys who are elite by the standards of normal people.
Yeah.
But then the MCs come back, and I was like, oh god, they're gonna get killed, and they beat them easily, like, oh, what?
Yeah.
And it's usually that expectation of like, oh god, they're super strong, but you never had a protagonist before, have you?
Right.
And that's what I like about those, like in this case, the numbers, where it's just kind of like, I think the point is that it just shows just where our characters are at, because
I just took down that level.
I think the point there is that these guys are by no means weak. These guys are top of the sea.
True.
But they never met our MCs.
And they're really drunk.
And even if they weren't, though,
probably
they never met our MCs.
Yeah, true.
So I think that's kind of thing.
These numbers are just they're done.
I think to the Straw Hats they were meant to be fodder.
Gotcha. I wonder if Brooke gets a fight with CP Aegis. Do you think that?
Brooke CP Aegis.
Brooke first.
Maybe.
He does
defending Robin.
He does end up in situations like that a lot.
Do you think he can fight Aegis?
I don't think he's ready.
I don't think we've had a really super solid Brooke fight because he mostly played support for Robin in the Black Maria fight. I think that would be a good fight.
I want a Brooke fight, honestly.
I really do.
I'm excited for one whenever it happens. If it happens. Oda, please let it happen.
I think that'd be a good one.
And that's even assuming we do get a CP Aegis fight.
Well,
there might be a struggle.
They did say to grab Robin and then take out who's who, right?
Yeah,
that became a new directive. So
something's going to happen.
Oda is setting up them moving in some way against the Straw Hats.
And this might be one of those things I was talking about that leads into another arc.
Could. Very well. Though, we've had the Robin one before. We get it.
Well, it might not be a Robin.
You shouldn't fucking touch Robin.
It might not be a Robin.
Have you not learned your lesson, Lucy? Have you not figured out that you can't touch Robin? God, she has friends, you bastard. 10:30. Burke. What's going to happen next one? Call it. So many places to go.
I think steam's come out of your head.
That's just it. There's just so much that could be happening. I'm going to lean on it until it freaking happens.
Onigashima.
No. But also, good try. I'm just leaning on just get these other small fry out of the way. Which, if it's in tandem with, a couple of other big things like this chapter, by all means, absolutely. But I would really like Raizo and Fukurokuju. I honestly expected Raizo and Fukurokuju to be done before Killer and Hawkins.
True. They do seem like to be I mean, in my opinion, that's a smaller fight than that one. Like, Fukurokokuju is not as important as First Killer Kid.
Maybe, this is only a guess, but maybe the reason it's being left is because it's an important battle to Wano.
And Raizo's gonna die.
No, Fukurokuju's been in the seat of power with Orochi since Odin's family.
Since the dark times.
It would be
I
interesting.
mean, since the light times, actually.
Sure.
So, I mean,
Whatever you say.
maybe there's something there we need to know.
There has to be, right? There better be some. If it's just Raizo beats him and then walks away, I'm gonna be like, what was the point?
Yeah, there would have...
Off-screen this, Oda.
Yeah, I mean,
you can
I think there's got to be, because otherwise there would have really been no other point to Fukurokuju.
Yeah.
Because he gives off the air of a Wano big bad.
Yeah.
But if he just gets taken out...
I think, there's got to be something there that is revealed that's mind-blowing. Then I can be like, this fight was still worth it, right?
Yeah.
And we don't know a lot about Raizo really either.
Yeah.
Like, historically, we know a lot about the other scavengers. The Raizo kind of was just like, oh, I've heard about you. Let me follow you. Which is why everyone was like, oh, fucking he's the traitor. But no, it was Kanjuro, which, I mean, the dude was pulling people's hair out of their graves to make his brush. So that was weird.
He's just a weird guy.
He's a fucking dead guy.
At least he better be.
Dude, if he's not dead, then Kiku and Kinemon, they could be alive too. It is interesting that the 3Ks died. I'm not insinuating anything. I really want Denjiro to be up to something really cool.
He has to be. I mean,
what
what he did for the last 10 years, he better be up to something cool for this battle.
Yeah, he's got to be doing something cool.
He's waiting 10 years for this shit.
I think it would make sense that he would kill Orochi. Just he served him that long, defended him that long, and he's the one that actually kills him. So
I'd be down.
Also, would you be okay with Momonosuke eating Orochi?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that'd be cool.
However, just in case, we can actually confirm that eating someone with a devil fruit counts as you eating.
That would kill Momonosuke.
Yeah.
Oh, damn!
That's
the ultimate twist of Wano.
That's the only reason I'm not okay with it.
That's the tragedy of Wano.
No.
Actually, it would be cool if you finally got that blaze breath and burned him to a crisp.
Well, he's got to do that first anyway because I think he's poisonous, right? Isn't Orochi poisonous?
Oh.
You gotta burn him first so you give her all the poison, then you can eat him.
Queen's over here stealing all the poison and toxic shit.
Yeah, he's a pretty toxic queen. Toxic queen.
He's the problem with people today.
Toxic masculinity.
Just masculinity, dude.
Toxic Brachiosaurus.
Zuma, 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 zuma. Get over here, boy, and get naked. Zuma, zuma,
If
zuma.
I lose weight, I'll be too popular.
It's literally, he's tiptoeing zuma, 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 coming to get him. I think that's a good point. Okay, anything left on 1029? Awesome chapter, fun stuff.
I think.
Anything else we got off our chests?
For chess.
No.
Fox, you'll win.
Okay. Bye!
Bye!
Alright, listeners, that concludes this episode of the Yonko Podcast. Hawkins is down, sad, Kid got over his migraine, cool, and Sanji is on the run from his destiny. Except that, you cute fuck! Fuck up his Dio Snake, bitch, and his bopping ass! And while you're at it, use the super suit! With all that, see you next time on the Yonko Podcast Chapter Review 1030. Break or no break. I'm gonna break something if you don't tell us, Oda. Alright, boys, we're off.